Let's go live to Dr. Eran Lerman, the Vice President of the Jerusalem Institute for Strategy and Security. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
How certain are we that Israel indeed carried out these airstrikes over the weekend?
Well, I think I'm not going to break the government policy of avoiding attribution of specific operations, but it is well known and quite openly admitted that Israel conducts a systemic campaign called a Campaign Between the Wars, a CBW, Mabam by its Hebrew initials, to prevent Iran and Hezbollah from building up capacities in Syria and Lebanon that may alter the balance of power against us in a future conflict. And the Iranians have paid a very high cost already for their attempt to establish themselves in Syria. And there are some indications that they are increasingly frustrated, and therefore they may be inclined to use bases further afield for long-range attacks. Hence, Brigadier General Zilberman's warning, and also, if you may recall, things that the Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Aviv Kochavi, said just recently about people who may act on Iran's behalf and then realize that they have entered into a very costly relationship with Tehran.
So how much focus should Israel be keeping on Syria, and how much should they be focusing on Yemen and Iraq?
No, Syria is the main battlefield because it determines whether Hezbollah and perhaps even in Lebanon and perhaps even forces in Syria itself could engage with Israel in a major conflict in the future, and perhaps not too distant future. It's very important for Iran to generate a threat to us so as to deter us from acting, if necessary, against its nuclear infrastructure if they continue to go ahead surging towards the bomb. Iraq and Yemen, this is more haphazard. They can throw something at us, but it is not quite of the same magnitude. Still, it was important for Israel to indicate that it is keeping an eye, and we are not alone. I think I should mention in this context the visit in Israel of the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff a couple of weeks ago of the United States, General Mark Milley. And we are keeping an eye on what Iran is doing and what Iranian proxies are doing. And there is, of course, the 3rd of January commemoration, so to speak, of the death of Qasem Soleimani in Iraq. There is the unsettled account, so to speak, of the death of Mohsen Fakhrizadeh. So we have reasons to worry about Iranian intentions and to use our deterrent posture accordingly.
We don't have much time left, but I do want to ask you, why do you think that it is way more likely that an attack from Iran would come from a proxy war rather from Tehran itself?
Well, the Iranians, first of all, have made the use of proxies into an art. Across the region, from Hezbollah to the Houthi uprising in Yemen, the Popular Mobilization Forces, Al-Hashd al-Sha'bi in Iraq, etc. And definitely they have, alongside the IRGC element in Syria, they have militias from all over the place, Iraqis, Pakistani Shia, Afghani Shia, etc., who are also there. So the Iranians have made it into a habitual practice. Moreover, they really fear, under the present circumstances, that any action directly attributed to Iran could have very severe consequences. There is an Ohio-class submarine in the Gulf. Rumors have it that Israel is also building up a capacity to retaliate against Iran if necessary.
Right.
So they have reasons to try and create a non-attributable attack.
Right. So lots of interesting developments here. Dr. Lerman, thank you so much for your insight, and we hope to have you on again soon. Thank you.
You're welcome.